I'd like to talk to you guys today about a particular exercise we use here at G2G to help people to find something called dynamic stability when they're doing a hinge, for example. Alright, so what do I mean about dynamic stability? So static stability is bracing your core, stacking your rib cage over your pelvis, finding a neutral spine. Dynamic stability is being able to maintain that and then move, okay? So, if we're talking about a hinge pattern where we are flexing and extending our hips, what's moving, what's stable? What's dynamic, what's stable? So, what's dynamic, what's moving is your hips. What's stable? Your spine. Right, so let's look at that as a back to front kind of concept. So if I'm trying to find stability or stiffness through my spine, if I'm thinking about it at the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about bracing my core. So pulling my rib cage down, closing that gap. How am I going to stabilize the back side of my body? I can stabilize the back side of my body, my spine, by using my lat muscles, my latissimus dorsi muscles, which looks a little bit like that. So one way we would do that is if we were maybe seeing somebody doing their hinge pattern and they were having trouble keeping their back flat. So as they're moving into their hinge, the weight is drifting in front of them and they see how my upper back is kind of flexing. We don't want that in this situation. We want the upper back to stay completely still and all the movement comes from the hips. So we need to teach people what it feels like and how to engage their lats. So to do that, we will use an exercise called a banded hinge with lat activation, which I've set up here. Right, so if we set ourselves up here, first things first, you want to try and engage your lats. It's like you're trying to squeeze your armpits so that my hands are down by my pockets, and then from there I'm going to fight the band's pull by keeping my lats engaged, and then I'm going to move into my hinge and out of my hinge. So if I don't have lat tension, what's going to happen is the band's going to win, and as I move into my hinge, I'm going to lose that lat tension and then round through my upper back, so my spine is going to start moving, which if you remember, we don't want under load. So lats on, brace your core, move into your hips, and back again. One cue that I quite like to use, it's slightly bizarre, but it resonated with me when I heard it, was to get lat activation when you're doing something like a hinge or a squat. You want to think about basically having 2 oranges, whatever fruit, oranges, lemons, whatever works for you, 2 oranges underneath your armpits, and then before you start moving into your hinge, you want to think about trying to squeeze all of the juice out of those oranges, and then hold those oranges in place in your armpits as you move into your hinge. Maybe give that one a shot and see if it helps, but that lat activation is going to help you find dynamic stability the next time you do a hinge pattern.